hear them. Do you know, in the UK, I think we have a few real wildlife spectacles, but this, what I'm going to hopefully photograph this evening, has got to be one of the best spectacles we have in this country, and that is the Starling Murmuration. So if you're not aware what the Starling Murmuration is, it's basically where we get huge numbers of starlings that flock together as they come into roost for the night. So you can literally get thousands and thousands of birds all come together in the same location, and what you'll tend to get, it's quite often you'll first see like 10, 20 birds up in the sky, a few groups here and there, and you'll see a few more from different angles, and eventually you'll start to see a lot more birds coming together, and then eventually they'll all start to congregate, often from different directions, form a massive, huge ball of starlings. And the amazing thing about this spectacle is not just the sheer number of birds, but also the display that they put on. They just can create so many different patterns as they swirl around in the air. Sometimes they'll group together, then they'll come apart. It's kind of coalescing and separating, coming in from different angles, just creating all sorts of different patterns, swirling like waves in the sky. So that's what I'm here to photograph today. Camera gear today, I've got my Canon 1DX. I've got 3 lenses with me, so I'm kind of treating it like I would a landscape shoot. I've got 3 lenses. I've got this, which is my 100mm macro lens, but it's just fine as a 100mm kind of portrait lens. It doesn't have to be just for macro. I think this is likely to be the one I'm going to use the most. I've got a feeling. I've also then got the 50mm standard lens, and I've got a wide angle lens as well, but I have a feeling the wide angle lens won't get used. I think it'll be too far away from the birds, and this one I think is going to fit the bill perfectly. So in terms of shutter speed, I've got a couple of ideas in my head. So 2 kinds of shots I want to take really. The first one is just a standard shot with a fairly fast shutter speed, just to freeze the movement and hopefully just to show that whole mass of starlings. The other type of image is to use a slower shutter speed, hence the tripod to allow me to do that. But I want to pick a shutter speed that's going to be slow enough to really show the movement. So if I get that movement where, you know, they all start twisting and turning, coming together, changing direction, then I want to try and use a slow shutter speed to deliberately blur all that movement. So if I do that, I'm going to use this technique. I've got a ball head, and what I do is just slacken the ball head off a bit. So not completely, but just enough that I can adjust it. So what that does, it gives me stability still on the tripod, but it allows me to follow the birds and recompose quickly. So this is where I'm shooting towards at the moment. I am set up shooting almost directly towards the sunset, and we've got pretty good weather this afternoon. It's largely clear. We've got a few clouds in the sky. That's not a bad thing, because when the sun goes down, there's a good chance those clouds are actually going to colour up nicely, get a bit of hopefully pinky purple in there. Small little group just up there, so that's a good sign. I'm going to do this last little bit on a 12,800 ISO, I think it is, and you can tell how dark it is. It was so hard to do anything like to talk through stuff I was doing, which I'd love to do, to go through the settings and stuff, but when all the Starlings are swirling it is just so amazing, and it's really hard to talk on camera. You just got to keep shooting, and to be honest, apart from just photographing, it's just amazing just to watch, just to witness that, and the different shapes. They were cutting shapes. They were cutting shapes to their own symphony. Yeah, that was awesome. The shapes they were creating, it started off a bit slow, then it got better and better. The shapes those Starlings were creating was just about everything, I think, from big balls separating into lines, looking like, I don't know, worms, apostrophes. There was one point as well where they kind of separated into different groups, but the groups were still quite big. There was like 4 different groups, and a few were kind of like ball shaped, and I know I took some of that, so I hope I've got a decent shot of that. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll try and do it again, maybe show you. I'd love to come back and do it again. Everything I shot was with a 100mm macro lens. I didn't change it again because you're a bit scared about changing your lens and trying different things whilst all the action's happening in front of you. So if I come back again another time, which I'm sure I will over the winter, then I would probably put on the 50mm standard lens and just try and go for those wider shots and get a bit more of the habitat in there as well. I was trying to get some of the water, some of the shots you'll see I've got the water and the reeds at the bottom of the frame. I was trying to get that in the frame and do a few verticals as well. So anyway, thanks again for watching. This has been such a fantastic spectacle. What a beautiful thing to see. One of the best things you can ever see in wildlife. Anywhere in the world, I reckon. And here it is, just close to Leeds. Watch this video if you're interested in more vlogs like this out in the field, and do subscribe to my channel as well. I'll see you somewhere in nature sometime soon.